parody to the nth degree.
Right.
And so like taking that and then comparing that to something like Criminal or the Serial podcast that's like
Right.
and like very serious and takes itself seriously. And I really want to be able to mix those like two vibes together, especially
Sure.
like and you're like the perfect person to be able to do this with too, because every conversation we have is like either just like complete utter bullshit, uh, or going really really personal and diving deep into our emotions and subconscious.
Sure.
So, yeah,
Sure. And
it'll be really fun.
yeah, that's what's gonna make it fun. So like, yeah, I mean, obviously, like, there'll be more to it as we go along. Today it's me, like Sam and I, like they're good people. Like we're gonna start off with just kind of like some baseline story shit. Obviously, we're riffing on it, and then we're just kind of take it from
Right.
there. So
Yeah, and
in
then in the future we'll have
different, yeah,
different
guests
people
and
coming on and stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, I guess like I mean, like let's stop wasting people's time
right.
and start talking about ourselves.
Oh, and Sam,
Q. Yeah.
do yourself a favor. Like, make sure that you're recording this because you're being recorded, video wise.
Oh. I'm being recorded video
You're
wise?
yeah, you're being recorded video wise. I don't know. Who knows? Like,
Yeah, no, this is perfect because like in this will be great for when we finally get our first Patreon subscriber in 3 years, and
right,
then they'll be able to we'll be able to be like, hey, you want some OG content?
right,
Uh, this is just for you.
right,
Here's a video of me and Maui
right.
sitting at a table with a completely whited out background.
Right, yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
Like red headphones in my kitchen with my with my baby chickens like squawking their asses off in the background.
They're so cute, by
They
the
are.
way. Yeah.
It's too funny.
Oh my God. How did you when did you get your chicks? When did you get your chickens?
Oh, so like we had, which is kind of funny. This is something that's kind of defined me as of recently. When I got together with my fiance, like she had talked about chickens, like for a while because she'd had a bunch of them with her ex. And then obviously we moved into our place, had this huge backyard, and it was kind of funny. It was serendipitous. Probably maybe like a week after we moved in, her ex was like, "Hey, I'm working a lot. Like, do you want like her two chickens back, Banjo and Coco? Do you want them back?" And she was like, "Well, fuck yeah, I want them back." So we started with them too, and then like it was always the plan to, pick up at least three more and have five. We now have seven. So
You're on your way to having your own little suburban farm.
right, exactly. Yeah, we've got our compost pile, and we're gonna be planting the garden here pretty quick, and yeah, it's very very hippie. But no, I mean, but the funny thing is like I found that I really enjoy raising chickens. It's kind of
Yeah.
it's a little weird. It's kind of a, I guess, a hobby that I've been really kind of in like really enjoying because it's a lot of work. I mean, they're messy. Before we had the coop built, and it took me from like December until last month to build this coop. Like they're just walking around our beautiful backyard patio and all, just shitting on everything we love. Like just everywhere. Like you just can't
Yeah.
believe like how does something shit so much? You clean all of it up and
Well, I
then
mean,
like
you should know that as a
should
parent,
I?
right? Yeah.
Well, no, but I mean, no. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? Human babies
No, yeah.
ain't shit compared to chickens. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. But like our current baby chicks are like between like 3 and 8 weeks old. So they grow fast. By 5 months, they'll be full grown and laying eggs. We'll put them out in the coop. So all that fun stuff.
Oh, that's crazy.
I know it's
Yeah,
not.
I don't know if I could handle that kind of responsibility, that kind of labor. You're a very like nurturing and like person of as someone who likes to take care of other people and like you worry about people a lot. That's something that I like noticed right off the bat. And God, because we met at our friends. Was that a Halloween party?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we met at the Halloween party. I was the what was I? I was in this like
Oh,
giant
you were no,
inflatable.
you were a
I was a
giant
pumpkin.
pumpkin. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was a giant inflatable pumpkin. That was pretty. Yeah, I was James and the Giant Pumpkin, and
That was fucking
and
amazing.
and that's when Quentin noticed me from across the backyard and was like, you know what? I want to get to know that pumpkin.
Huh?
That pumpkin's gonna be my best bud.
Right, right.
Uh,
Actually, to be fair, like what started it off is we were like smoking cigarettes in the backyard, and Sam was kind of like kind of heated at the moment. Like, he wasn't like fighting with anybody or anything like that, but like he was describing this like flame war he got in with a bunch of like
oh
turfs.
yeah. Oh man, I forgot all about that. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Yeah, the turfs on Twitter. I am quite the drama queen, if I do say so.
Oh shit. All right. So this is good segue into like, and honestly, I'll speak my piece here in a minute, but and why that relates to Sam's experience and kind of why we kind of hit it off in that moment. But as Sam said at the beginning of the episode, like, he's non-binary. They are
Right.
non-binary. I
There you go.
still struggle with the
It's
pronouns.
okay. Yeah, yeah, it takes time.
No, honestly, it does. It takes time, conditioning, all that stuff. But him describing his experience was
There.
right. Was well, it was there, but at the same time, like, it was relatable. And like, I'll explain why in a moment, because like, I want Sam to kind of explain this situation
Right.
and like how it pertains to them, and their pronouns and their decision to, like, be who they are. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, so just like float it. Like, you started with just like, I was up all night. Like, I'll admit, like, I was up really late, got drunk, done some drugs, whatever, and then you just got into this, like, you got into this turf war with a
Oh
turf.
yeah, yeah. I don't even know what it was about really anymore, but I do remember that, yeah, I was up really late. My friends and I went out drinking, and there was some just like transphobic person on Twitter that was, I don't even know. Do you remember what it was even about?
Oh, I have no idea. I know that, if I remember
Because it
correctly.
happens so often, and I try my best to just like not let it affect me to the point where I can't
Sure,
even remember what like it
sure,
was like you go into the and everyone does this, that like does the whole like keyboard warrior thing, that
sure,
like you go through and you address the problem and try and be as like direct and effective as possible, and so
sure,
you don't go through like just attacking the person's character and all these
sure.
things.
Yeah,
um
it's not
but
it's not hurling epithets and insults. It's
right,
like
right.
true social justice warriorship, like, involves like being thoughtful and being able to back up your facts and being able to, like, speak to a situation. And I mean, really, at the end of the day, like, is hippy dippy, is people were like, oh, you fucking hippie, and I'm like, honestly, like, one thing defines me: I am an unabashed socialist. You guys can
Yeah.
comment it. That's fine. If you hate it, that's great. Like, let me know, like, in the comments, like, later on, we could talk about it, because I'm not the kind of person to think that, like, because you don't have the same viewpoint as I do, like, that we can't, like, like, have a logical discourse. But at the same time, in this moment, when I had met Sam, he was pretty heated, and rightfully so.
Oh! And I remember now, especially because you're describing it that way. Yeah, because we weren't even talking about like it wasn't like trans rights, or they weren't being like blatantly transphobic
Sure,
online. I think it was something that we were just like we were talking about different like gender issues and certain
sure,
things like that, and like we were going back and forth, and I don't know what the topic was about. Doesn't really matter. But
right,
then I remember that she had said something along the lines of, um, well, like they're just trying. They're just men trying to be women, and they're taking away our rights and all these things, and like trying to. And so at that point was like a really like a
right,
calm after the storm situation
sure,
was like, oh, thank God, like I'm not like involved in a really serious conversation.
Sure.
And like I don't, because I remember feeling at that point like, am I like wrong in this situation? Like, is my core beliefs actually inaccurate and like
Right.
faulty, which totally happens and you should analyze about yourself every now and then. But then I was
Right.
able to say like, oh no, thank God, you're just a turf. You just
Right.
hate trans people. And
Right.
that's why you keep like attacking me
Right.
this way. And it's crazy because like that's something that I just like haven't understood
Right.
really, is how people are able to back up their arguments
Sure.
so subtly and vaguely with like stereotypes and
Right.
prejudice, to the
Right.
point where you don't even like, it's so innate that you don't realize it's happening. Like,
Yeah.
it's not people that are extremely xenophobic like Trump,
Right. Right.
um, but it's more of like
It's
the
not blat
Nixon
it's
side.
yeah, it's not like blatant. It's kind of like it's sneaky and kind of like one of those moments where like, you're listening to a conversation, you're having a conversation with the person, and then like you kind of like you're talking with them for like 10, 15 minutes, and then you kind of like you have to like go back and like
Yeah,
kind
they
of
make
play the
one
tape back.
comment that they kind
And
of
you're
just
like,
like skate over, and then you're like,
right,
wait a minute,
minute,
what
and then
what do
and then
you mean like
right
that?
like that, and then of course like at that moment like they make that one comment, and then you kind of roll the tape back in your head and realize that like everything that they've been talking about up until that point like kind of was like hinting at that kind of position. Because like you were saying, like this particular woman was saying that like, oh, there's just boys that want to be girls, and it was like, well, that's okay. So for like, okay, so one thing that I'm like,
Well, I mean, I wish it was that simple of a statement,
no,
because like the
exactly,
response would be so easy, just like, well,
right,
yes, exactly,
well,
great, you
yeah,
understand.
yeah,
They're
great.
boys that want to be
I
girls, and we
girls,
should let them.
and girls that
Hashtag
want to
trans
be
rights.
boys, right? Yeah, girls that want to be boys. Hashtag equal rights. But
Right.
no, but at the same time, like as just as a logic problem, like her argument is like fundamentally flawed. There's just boys that want to be girls. No, that's the thing. It's like
Right. No, they're just
right,
women that want to be treated like women.
right. Well, and I'm just saying, in your case, as a
Right.
non-binary person, like, no,
Yeah.
there is no gender assignment. I don't
Right.
identify as either. So, like,
Right.
you saying that I'm a boy that wants to be a girl, like, kind of is like it's like the double knife in the back, because it's like you're kind of
Right, and then
glossing
there's
over.
always been this like weird thing, because like when like there's like a majority of 90% of the time, just like yourself, when I'm like, oh yeah, I'm non-binary, I don't feel comfortable being like referred to as male, but obviously like don't feel comfortable referring to as female, and you're like, oh dope, yeah, like nice, like meet in the middle thing.
Sure.
And there are some people who are just like, well, what's on your birth certificate? Well, but is there a penis in your pants? And it's just like,
Right.
this is not, yeah, we're not talking about organs. Come on,
Right.
like if
Yeah.
you care about me as a human
Hmm.
being, like, then yeah. But God, I cannot remember where I was going with this. Damn ADHD.
Right. Hey,
Um,
yeah, which is the whole reason why.
the
Right.
whole point of this.
Right. The
But
whole
yeah,
point is that
so
the format doesn't have to be like hard, so it's just like you
right.
just gotta take it where it goes. And actually, I think this is a good conversation. Did you need to regroup for a minute?
No, no, no. I was just gonna say, I was just gonna kind
Yeah.
of like leave that and
Yeah.
sidestep a little bit until I
Sure.
have that comes back to me. But yeah, so I decided that like being non-binary fits my I guess like mental state and personality a little bit better. Thankfully, a large majority of the population has been really, really awesome with it.
Right.
Excuse me. Oh, and to burp a little.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it's insane to me how many times I've had so many people just like, I don't know how to explain it, just like be
Sure.
blatantly um bigoted a little bit, of just
Right.
like sort of, and it's really just because they don't understand, like, they
Right.
just don't get why
Sure.
I am who I am and why I act the way that I do.
Right. I mean, but
And
isn't that the foundation of like all like biggest bigotry comes from like it comes from a foundation of misunderstanding or willful ignorance.
right, right. And I think that people who are more secure in themselves, I think, are more uh maybe I'm wrong. I was gonna say people who are
Sure.
more secure in themselves are more likely to be bigoted because I mean, like the definition of bigot itself is thinking that you are better than someone else.
I mean, yeah.
Right, because of an innate thing. And so it's like, well, I don't understand you, and so I'm
Right.
gonna judge you harder because I don't get it. And
Right.
if I acknowledge I don't get it, then that makes me stupid for some reason. And it's
Mhm.
like, no, 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 you don't understand. I also don't know who I am.
Right.
That's why I'm non-binary, you see.
Right.
And it's such a nice evil thing, even thing.
An
Yeah, so,
evil, even thing.
yeah, just a little satanic slip. Um,
Right. Right.
um, but I'm really excited. Once I get back from Maui next week, I'm actually filing so that I can get my ID changed, get my real ID, and it'll have non-binary
Right. This is super cool.
as my
But
gender on there. Yeah, it's
because
gonna
yeah,
be it's really awesome.
because we live in the greatest nation in the world, California.
California, yeah, precisely.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, honestly, which kind of circles back to like how Sam and I met, and like, which is funny because it's like even to this day, like, obviously, I've been fortunate enough. I know like a lot of people. I know a lot of trans people, like gay people. Like everybody's just people to me.
Right.
But Sam was the first non-binary person I actually met, which I was kind of like actually kind of a little bit stunned about. You know what I mean? I figure like being the social person that I had, I figured I would have ran across it by now. But I mean, that's neither here nor there. So I feel like Sam and I had this kind of immediate connection over what they were going through, not necessarily. I don't know. I guess it doesn't necessarily come from a place of struggle. Like we're not talking like Million Man March thing. It was a commiseration over a frustration over being misunderstood.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, which
yeah,
I think that is something that we I think was the main thing that we bonded over
yeah,
that night too, was just like constantly being misunderstood, like spread throughout our lives though.
right.
Obviously not all the time, but
Sure. I mean, but
excuse me.
yeah, I mean, like, okay, so you're non-binary. I am bisexual. We're both mixed children.
Right,
Uh,
yeah.
so it's like we're like, which is kind of funny because that's what I feel like that's what we bonded over is not necessarily like our, I don't know, mutual like need to fight this, but just like our mutual like, see, like, isn't that kind of shitty? Like, you're not,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, you're not like, you're not white enough to be white. You're not black enough to be white, black enough to be black. You're like quasi Asian, and then
Yeah.
like
Yeah. It's kind of like
layer in
we're
your
both
non-binary
sideline minorities.
bisexuality, poly, like
Yeah.
all of the stuff that comes along with it, and it's just like I don't know. I like, and that's why I feel like that's why we bonded. It wasn't like a mutual like, oh my god, like life is terrible. It's just kind of like, isn't that funny? Like we had
Yeah,
to like
yeah.
laugh for it.
Yeah, we're actually like the phrase we're sideline minorities,
Yeah.
where it's kind of just like, yeah, like it's something that's like not at the top tier of the attention of a
Right.
lot of different things. It's
Right.
like which is it's hilarious because like when I was in elementary school, I tried out for basketball
Sure.
and I did not make the team. We were doing suicides across the court and I ran out of breath and like collapsed several times
Oh.
because I was a little chubby Asian boy that could not keep up with anybody.
Right.
And everyone else was super athletic, wanted to go into basketball, all this stuff. A couple of the kids, their dad was the coach. And so I didn't make the team, but my mom like fought for me, like she always has throughout my life. And it was one of those things where like back in my mind, I was just like, no, mom, please, I
No,
can't do
no,
it.
no, no,
I'm so tired.
I'm
But she
embarrassed.
she got me on the team to the point where they were like, well, we can't put them like in the game.
Uh,
So I was just benched all season. And so I went to every single game and I would do the warm-ups and practices and all those things. And then we'd get to the games and I would just like be sitting on the bench
oh my
until they were
god.
ahead by like 10 to 15 points. And
Sure.
then they'd be like, Sam, get in there. And then I'd like get the ball, get almost down to our basket, and they were like, shoot. And he was like, everyone's chanting it, shoot, shoot, shoot.
Right,
And then I
right.
finally throw the ball, and it's like one of those amazing like bench warmer moments. And then like the ball flies down like
Right. Yeah.
halfway
Right.
to the
Hits
to the
the hit
basket.
hits another kid in the head.
Yeah, or I'm like,
like
oh my God, I'm about to do it. And then someone else runs up behind me and just slaps it out of my hands. And it's like, oh, yep, nice reminder that I am not good at this.
Right.
And it's one of those things. It's like I have always sort of been that person that's like on the sideline. I'm behind the scenes, which is like I was even behind the scenes like on the basketball team. Like I wasn't a part of the team. The other kids were the ones that were like winning the games. I was doing their homework so that they could stay on the team.
Right. Yeah.
And it was like, no, I was an essential part of the team because I was helping them keep their grades up the entire time.
So that they actually could play.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And then keep up so that I didn't drag them down all season. I think I made a total of 5 baskets the entire season. And yeah, it was.
It's all good. It's all good, man. Obviously I'm like, what, a good 3 inches taller than you am than you are. You're what, 5'10"?
I'm 5'10", yeah.
Yeah, I'm 6 even. And people are like, yeah, I'll pick him for sports. And no, like, yeah, I don't sports ball. Like, I wasn't very like. I mean, I get the mechanics. I enjoy a good game of kickball. But I don't know.
Give me some kickball.
Yeah, but I mean, but at the same time, like, I don't know. I feel like I've kind of lived my life without that like killer competitive instinct, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like my stuff sort of definitely sways more towards like video games, and like I think the most athletic thing that I do is kickball and bowling. Which like my parents, when I was a kid, at least I considered them pro bowlers. I don't know what.
Oh my God, my parents
actually
same thing, like tournaments all the time. Like,
oh yeah, we had trophies galore throughout the garage.
My stepdad like bowls like a 238 average, freaking nuts. Like,
yeah, my grandpa. I remember the last time I was in office, I was just like in his office. I was in his house, just like looking at the wall of plaques that were just like perfect game after perfect game.
Right.
And
it's like, what?
Yeah, so it's like I started bowling again recently.
Yeah.
And Aiden, our friend Aiden, was actually just the one that like he has like 3 balls, an entire kit, and he's just like such a bowling nerd.
Right.
So much.
Oh my God, I could totally see Aiden being like him standing at the lane, like doing like the polishing the ball and
he totally does.
Oh, yeah.
It's so great. And like he knows how like nerdy it looks too. And so he's like holding the ball and just like polishing it down really, really nice, like right in front of you. And I went bowling with him, and it was great because he had his balls with him, and so I was able to use those. Hey, please laugh at that. We are children.
Right. We are all like, and every guest from here on out, we are all little 12-year-old boys at heart.
At heart, exactly.
Even if we don't identify as boys, sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. At heart, I'm just a small little child.
I
didn't know back then, so that's fine.
Right. It's like I may not be non-binary, but like I'll be the first to admit that like I don't know, I don't want to be the man all the time. I like being the little spoon.
I like being that, like I call it the masculine figure.
Sure.
Yeah, and it's like it's the worst thing ever. Like I will be the first person to be like, I'm going to volunteer to cower in the corner while everyone takes care of this. I'll be the motivation, the fire under your ass to get out of here so that you can stop listening to me complain. Like that's what I'm going to provide to this situation right now. But oh yeah, so to go back to what I was talking about, Aiden was we all went bowling, and he brought his gear and everything. I think it was like midnight, and we were at this bar, and they were like, we're gonna do last call in like a half an hour, and I was like, let's go bowling. I was like, country club is 24 hours. Let's go. Yeah, so we went over there, and I used his gear because it was actually like really, really good stuff. I could actually like use my techniques that my dad taught me as a kid and go through. And I left with like the sorest body that I have ever had in my life.
Yeah, it's actually a lot more work than it looks. Yeah.
And I completely forgot. And I think like it's happened twice in the last few months. That once when I went bowling, and like I woke up the next morning and like my left glute was like fire in pain. Right. and my right hand
Oh,
was just so sore.
yeah,
And then again,
like
last week. Oh, go for it.
rheumatoid arthritis. You're like, oh God, I can't open my hand. No, I get it. Yeah, I'm sorry. Continue.
No, yeah. But the second time was just last Thursday. I went to Fire University in Davis, and so like I have my giant like 6 foot fire staff or whatever,
Yeah.
and was going out there and I was like,
Man.
oh, it's gonna be so awesome and all these things. So I lit it on fire and I start spinning and I'm like doing really good, and then I come back and Aiden and our friend Sarah are over there. And I was just like, I did so great, and I'm so excited. And then I was all of a sudden like my stomach just started hurting really bad, and I was just like, oh man, like was it something that I ate? And then I realized it was my like non-existent abs
Oh
that was
no!
just in
It's
so
like
much
on
pain.
fire.
Yeah, because I hadn't exercised or spun fire in months, and
Right.
it's one of those things. It's like, or it's not one of those. I think exercising in general for me is just
Sure.
one of those things. Like I don't do it all the time, so
Right.
but when I do, I'm in so much pain.
Pain, right? No, I don't always exercise.
Yeah, I don't
But
always exercise.
but when I do, I'm in extreme pain. Right.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
so true. It's so true. Sorry, I'm just grabbing one of my chickens right here. Like fun content. This is Punchki.
Oh my
I
God.
know. Isn't her mohawk amazing?
It's so good. Is that natural?
Yeah. She's
Oh
what
man.
she's what's called a Polish crested. So
A
eventually,
Polish crested.
yeah. So I'm thinking that it'll probably be more like a mohawk, like the whole time. Don't jump on my mouse.
Oh man.
Jump on my mouse.
Oh.
Fly away.
Okay, yeah, she went down.
Oh no, yeah, they're little assholes. We gotta hold them like more, but yeah. So I guess like the whole hallmark of the breed is they grow this like afro of feathers, which is interesting. But I'm thinking that hers is gonna be like a mohawk of feathers, which is kind of cool because when they have
Yeah.
like the afro feathers, it grows over their eyes and we like trim it back so like they don't, so they can't like so they can see. All that good stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Anyways, that's just aside, like something to throw out there. It's just funny and fun.
I mean, it's fine. I mean, like, I think the last thing that I was talking about was just being too out of shape
Sure.
to handle bowling.
Right.
Like,
But
I
I
think
mean,
that's such a problem that only people like me have to deal with. Of like, I'm gonna go bowling, and it's like, careful now, don't
right.
hurt yourself. And
Yeah,
it's like, oh, come on.
Whoa, slow
It's
down
like,
there,
no,
Tiger.
I seriously have to worry about myself. I think
Who
like
is
I went
that?
swimming a
Who is
couple
that
days
in the
ago.
background?
Huh? Oh, is it a tiny child?
It was a tiny child.
That was my little sister.
Oh.
Yeah, no, my whole family is here. Yeah, so I'm just
No,
sitting
that's
in
rad.
the
No, that's rad.
in the living
That,
room of our little lofty
that's
thing. We
that's
got.
that's totally cool. Honestly, like that's all kind of a part of the experience. But no, you were saying, oh, this asinine thing, like, oh, like I bowl, but then I hurt, and it's like, but at the same time, like, I feel like it circles back to this idea of like expectations, you know,
Right.
like you're a young fit American. You gotta like
Well, I mean, I can't act the victim too hard because I am the person that's like, I'm gonna sit on my ass and drive for Lyft all day, and then I'm
right,
gonna go and sit at a bar and drink, and then I'm just not gonna
right,
eat, or I'm gonna
right.
eat a lot of
A lot
fast
of
food,
fast
and then
food,
I'm
right?
not gonna
And
exercise.
then I'm like,
And then it's like, no,
right,
if I go and work out, I'm gonna be in extreme pain.
pain,
Like
right?
that's
Oh no,
just a
I'm having the
given.
same experience. I'm like, oh, work tech
Oh
support in my
yeah.
software job, sitting all day, and then like I get up and walk to my car. This is my exercise for the day, and then I drive in the evening. I'm sitting on my ass. I am like, in case you guys were wondering, I am currently sitting on my ass. But anyways, I mean, it just kind of circles back to this idea that I feel like. I don't know, like people are like, oh, damn boomers, and I was like, well, it's not just like honestly, it's not just older folks, and in my experience I feel like the older folks get like the more willing they are to kind of like let those like barriers down. I mean, don't get me wrong, we all have our stories about like a great relative of some kind that's still called, black people colored, or or Negroes,
Yeah.
but like honestly, like I don't know. At the end of the day, I feel like there's just as many expectations from, people our own age. I mean, there's a pretty good age gap between Sam and I. They're 23 and I am 35. But again, to reiterate, we're all 12-year-olds here. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
12-year-old boys.
We are the age gap. Yeah,
Right.
the
We are
12-year age gap that
right.
is between us. Yeah.
Oh my God, that works out so perfectly. I
Oh
had
my
to
God.
crunch the numbers. Like your Asian heritage to the rescue, right?
Exact. Like I don't have a choice. It just happens already in my mind, and like as two numbers are said, all that is given to me is like, this is what you get if you add them up. This is what you get them. This is the median and mean of these two different numbers,
Right,
and it's like, yeah, no, I don't get a choice. I'm just filled
right.
with knowledge of statistics and
Yeah, statistics and mathematics. Yeah, but
oh my God.
no, that's kind of the funny thing to kind of circle back to, like the whole original idea. Like obviously, like when we set out to kind of make this introduction, um, we didn't want to start with the bullshit of like, oh, where did you come from? Where you're born? I mean, you can find that shit out later. You can find me on Facebook. You can find all this information, but
Right, exactly. But
but
we've known each other for like a hot minute now. I mean,
yeah,
since October.
right,
And it's
forever,
April
forever,
now, so we've known each
forever,
other for like 12
forever,
years.
forever.
Uh, but yeah, no, like there's still a lot that we don't know about each other. I mean, like when we do hang out, it's in like short little bits here and there, especially because we both work so much, or in my case, you sleep a lot. Um, and so we just don't have that time. And when we do hang out, it's like, going to see the movies and God, we don't hang out a lot, I guess. That's the
Well,
first thing that came
no,
to my mind.
come on, like, don't be so.
No, no, I'm kidding.
Like
Yeah,
on
no.
it, and honestly, like the trip between like winter and spring is like kind of a long jaunt. We're all
Yeah,
suffering.
it's
We're
that
all
weird
suffering, but like, and like
space.
people are like,
Yeah.
oh, no, like no, we're all suffering from some kind of societal disaffective disorder during that time because it's like we get bludgeoned with the holidays, and I mean, don't get me wrong, like especially like driving for Lyft, like I didn't like run into like too many assholes out there, which is great, but it's just like it's a lot. Like there's a lot going on. It's really intense. It's that time, like these times of year and that season where you're having to deal with the intensity of like your family or being alone or
Right,
yes,
exactly.
I can barely pay my bills, but now but I'm glad that I can pay my bills, but now I'm like ridiculously stressed that I can't, get gifts for my best friends or like, buy flowers for or something simple
Yeah,
for my
or even just spend time with my loved ones or take a
right.
break every now and then. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, like and it's also like that time period between like October and now in April. So like that little like fall, between fall and spring,
Right.
that weird, almost like unnecessarily long winter stretch.
Right. Yeah.
Especially in California, or like Northern California, like we're in. It's so interesting of that, like, because you get the allergies that are happening like
Oh
right now, and then since like February,
yeah.
and then all of the sickness. Like I think I on New Year's Day I
Right.
got strep throat,
Oh,
and yeah, and was out of commission for like 3 weeks.
gross.
Yeah, and so it was completely awful. And so after recovering from that, was broken up with in February, the very next month.
Oh.
And was, yeah, so just like one
See,
thing after
see,
another after another.
and honestly, we're gonna be better about this, like beforehand. But we like Sam and I were talking before this. We had this brilliant night. We were just kind of like we called each other and we were like skyping and walking around the house where we were just kind of prepping for everything, just doing our stupid shit, getting our cup of coffee, like eating snacks or whatever, and like. That's kind of funny. We was just like, oh shit, like we haven't hung out in a while because like I had no idea that had happened. And I was like, oh shit, wait, are you? I was like, and you're like, no, bro, like
Yeah.
it
No,
was
she's long
brutal.
gone, but that's
Yeah,
cool. Yeah.
that happens.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, and like it's great. Like I'm honestly like really happy with everything that's been going on, especially because just like situations like that, not to go like too specific into it, just because it just doesn't matter, but it's like she was always like super super busy, and then towards the end of the relationship was like working two jobs 7 days a week
Right.
and living like miles away.
Right.
And so it already just like wasn't working, and like
Right. And
having everything happen.
at the end of the day, she just didn't have time for you anyway. So
Right,
like,
and it's not even like it was just her. Like neither of us really had time. I
right.
was pulling 13-hour shifts on doing Lyft every day to be able to come up with everything.
Right.
Because I have awful shopping habits, and just had, I think towards the like in middle of March, I had to cancel 4 different subscription services.
Nice.
Yeah. I like got back on the kick of being obsessed with serial killers, and so I had the
Oh,
Hunt a Killer package.
Roughage.
Yeah, and this like podcast streaming service that I was doing, and I was on a couple different people's Patreons,
Okay.
and all these different things. I'm just like, okay, these are like
You're
too
like,
many
I need
things
to
right
cut the
now.
fat. Cut the
Yeah,
fat.
exactly. Cut the fat. I need to Marie Kondo my life,
Right.
and yeah, and
Whereas
just
like, whereas mine is just like shitloads of child support, like that comes like straight
right.
out of my paycheck. No, and that's not don't be like right, like don't be
No,
like,
no, no, no,
oh,
no,
that's heavy. Like
no. You know that's not what I meant, though. Yeah,
you're right,
yeah.
exactly. It's just like it is what it is. It's like our the interesting thing is like circling back to like how we connect and how we met and what we bonded over was just the absurdity of experience, not necessarily our experience, but the absurdity of these experiences where like you find yourself in these situations where you're just like, like you're like, you have that and they make a comment, and then like when it makes you second guess yourself, like, am I wrong? Like, what am I doing? So
Yeah.
right, and then like our like mutual paths to brokenness and destitution, which is universal. Like, honestly, I don't give a flying fuck like what color you are, what your race, religion, creed is. I only live by one rule, and that's the golden rule. It sounds cheesy as fuck, but it really is the only rule that one should live by. But at the same time, there's some things that we can all like agree on. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Chinese, Indian. When you're broke, it's sucks. Like, and it's just like
Ain't that the truth, though? Yeah.
Well, if
Yeah.
you're white, likely to get a loan. I'm like, not if you're living in the trailer park. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And I've had the benefit of a lot of my life. I'm like I have a immense white privilege, especially since like
I mean, me too.
oh
Like,
yeah.
even like my mom is black, like my stepdad is white, but like my mom has worked really hard, and like, I mean, they put on the air of being middle class, but they work really hard for it. But I mean, that's the air that they put on. But no, I mean, like, I grew up in like huge house. Like, my friends come over like, oh God, your fucking house is sick. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I can't. I haven't had that modicum of experience of living in the ghetto until like, I moved out like in my like early 20s, living with my grandmother in Del Paso, not Del Paso, I'm sorry, North Highlands. I live in Del Paso Heights now, which just isn't too bad, but like there's still that, crackheads arguing outside, ghetto birds there, here and there. But at the same time, I feel like even though I grew up with that kind of upbringing, I still feel like I was able to take that in stride.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think like that's like very similar to like what you're saying. Like I think that's what I owe a lot of like who I am to like to is like because I lived in like Elk Grove, on the edge of Elk Grove, and was able to kind of like I lived on the edge of the ghetto. So like
Right.
I lived in suburbia and was
Right.
able to like experience the ghetto, quote unquote, from a distance.
Right.
And so like a lot of my friends were a lot lower class, and a lot of my and so like that's how I felt, even though that's not
Sure.
the situation that I was in. I was able to experience it secondhand and understand it, grow with all of this empathy and tolerance and like diversity, which was amazing. And yeah, especially because like being able to embrace the fact that I am a person of color,
Yeah. Sure.
that I and my culture that thereof, or
Right.
whatever the
Yeah. Or
term is.
yeah, or whatever. Like, like I said, like you're being able to at least in some, and I don't mean to make this sound pointed, but like able to participate in both halves of your culture It's sometimes in a limited capacity. I don't know.
Right.
My dad being white and like very Republican, very white, grew up with guns, very conservative. Like mom's black, which is funny, also Republican, very conservative. But that's neither here nor there. My experience with that is it would have been very easy for either half of the family to be like, that white man's boy, or that Negro's baby, but my parents grew up in the same neighborhood in North Highlands. Back in the day, they went to high school together, and my mom's half of the family kind of lived all over the world because my grandfather was in the military, and what they brought back with them is just a mutual understanding and putting a friendly foot forward before like rushing to judgment, and being able to take part in that and have all of my family be on board with that, and like not make me feel like the other is. I feel I had a really unique experience that way. I did.
Yeah. Yeah. My parents both were military kids too.
Sure.
And so, my dad grew up in Japan and then
Yeah.
Texas.
Right.
And like my mom spent a lot of time growing up in Belgium, and then growing up in the melting pot that is Sacramento.
Yeah.
Is just it's given me like so many opportunities.
What the hell are
Uh,
you doing?
is your chick getting into trouble?
Oh my God! One of the small ones was able to fly up on it. I'm gonna show you a picture here in a moment. You asshole! Get down from there. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here, Dale. Look at this. Look at this asshole. Deeks.
Oh,
That's Dale, and her
hi,
little sister,
Dale.
and her sister's Chip and Dale.
Oh, that's adorable.
Man, we're
It's
gonna
like my the two cats that I had, Puss and Boots.
right, Puss and Boots. We're gonna have to clip your wings soon. All right, down we go. Yeah. So check this out. There's total fucking anarchy. Standing on the edge of the bin. Whatever.
Oh
Asshole.
man.
But no, again, having parents that kind of lived out in, the world. I mean, honestly, people are like, "Oh, you're an American." I'm like, "Yes, I guess by birth you could call me an American, but really, I feel like more of a citizen of the free world or the free universe than I do to any particular kind of nationalism." And it's not because I haven't taken part of my own culture, or I don't. There's not things that I can't enjoy about it. Or I'm like, oh, I'm above it. No, it's just kind of I don't know. I guess when you have those experiences and you outside of your family, which is kind of your rock and what kind of sustained you through it. Outside of that, you kind of were the other,
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's you're in between. Nobody's really being super outboard, insane to you, but you have your, in your experience, your black friends are what do you know about being black,
Yeah.
or having your white friends be what's that like? And you're I don't have an answer for that. I really don't, because my experience is definitely very different than that of my my colored brothers and sisters. I still embrace them with open arms. It is a part of who I am. It is a part of my culture. But you find more often than not that at best you'll get a casual nod that you're kind of you're not in it, but they'll put up with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And you have you get that a little bit from yourself too,
Sure.
especially because you experience things that are little I guess you would consider them microaggressions
Sure.
of like someone walking up to me like, "Oh man, I love your hair. I wish that like mine could do that naturally," and stuff like that. And because like
Yeah,
and
but
like
okay, all right,
especially because like I have that like
hang
super
on,
like
hang on.
yeah what
Pump the brakes, pump the brakes, pump the brakes. Okay.
yeah
So like somebody commenting on your hair and wanting your hair is not a microaggression. I'm sorry.
no so what I'm
I'm sorry. Like you were going somewhere with that. I apologize.
oh no you're okay. I could totally be completely wrong. I think I'm probably using the wrong word for it.
No,
Um,
I'm speaking in absolutes. Like, don't listen to me. Like, because people like your hair. What was it, Lindsay the other night? Like at the
oh
Merc,
yeah.
she was like, I love your hair. I'm not gonna touch it. And I'm like, you're gonna touch it. Like, you want to touch
Yeah, you're gonna touch
it?
it.
Touch it. Yeah, go ahead and
Yeah.
touch it. You know, no big deal. But yeah, I mean, I guess like if it's one of those things, yeah. But you know, it could go either way. Like when people are just like reach out and assume that they can like touch your hair, then I would see that as definitely like wait, oh, whoa, like, you know, you wouldn't like it if somebody came up and like touched you out of the blue without saying anything. So yeah, that I would
Right.
definitely consider a microaggression.
Right. And because like the like what the first thing comes to my mind and what I was going with what I was saying, which I could be totally wrong, but
You
like
were
something
so
that
rudely interrupted. No.
yeah, exactly. Before you quite rudely it attacked me. Uh, was no one of my friends in elementary school dealt with it on a pretty regular daily basis of people just walking up to him and touching his dreads and just being like, no, I'm just really fascinated by it because like I don't see it all the time. Like he was this like majestic creature in the wild.
Right, like some kind of unicorn, yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like things like that it kind of
Sure.
like that obviously have that immediate sort of like annoyance of the semi-negative connotation of like an action,
Sure.
but also as someone who's like this sideline minority, made like when those types of things would happen to me, obviously not with like the hair thing, because the closest thing that comes to me is like
We've
nothing sticks
all
to my head,
no, but
but
we've all had like
right.
that kind of
Right.
experience,
It kind
and
of like,
honestly, yeah.
but it has this like positive reaction to it
Sure.
when you are this like sideline minority of like, oh, like that's right, I am like part of this culture. I am like sort of this thing, and like even though it is like negative, it kind of has this like oh man, I am realizing that I'm starting to sympathize or like kind of like validate microaggressions. And people, please don't touch people's hair without permission. Please don't
Yeah.
do all
Well,
these different
okay,
things.
okay,
Please.
all right. So
Uh,
this
yeah.
disclaimer there,
Yeah, we
like,
could
like,
cut this
no,
out. Cut it out.
don't, no, don't get freaked out by it. Like, it's not like, okay, so like, I don't know, the term microaggression in and of itself is that like really to me that's just it's a fancy new age word, or like new age term for basically essentially just being rude. Like,
Well, I mean,
but no, no,
the way that I,
but like,
uh,
no, but process like
oh
before.
yeah,
I'm
go for it.
sorry, but like
Go for it.
really process that for a moment. Is that like a microaggression, like micro, you know, meaning small or even minuscule or like almost imperceptible aggression. Somebody like being like either like well micro small aggression being threatening or anything like that really like I mean as a logic problem you can actually like boil that down to a boilerplate of literally like you're being rude. Like it could be racially based, it could be sexually
Right.
motivated, it could be anything like that, but because it is a microaggression essentially, at least how I perceive it and how I grew up is you're being rude. That
Right.
doesn't excuse it.
Right.
At all.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hannibal Lecter eats rude people for a reason because they're
Yeah.
awful. But yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's just a different vernacular for a
You know,
different time.
I'm fairly sure, and I could be wrong, but I'm fairly sure that the first person that Hannibal Lecter ate was someone who came up to him and was like, so what are you? Exactly.
Were you from like Lithuania? You don't
Yeah.
talk like you're Romanian, right?
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
where are you originally from? You know?
Right. Where are you really from? Yeah. that's just kind of all the part of the experience. And honestly, the reason why that's, somebody coming up and touching your hair without warning, it's okay. We have to be cognizant that it's not necessarily because you're black, it's because you're different. And the reason why
Right.
it's disturbing is because in their privilege or their mind, they think that it's just okay to do this, when again, like, if you were to kind of throw it back, I'm like, look, I'm not trying to like get in your face and be like aggressive about this, but how would you feel if some random guy came up to you and be like, I love your blonde hair, and just stroked it out of nowhere without, just grabbed it and then said, I love your, like, how would you feel about that?
Right.
So
Right.
like, not an absolution, but it's an ignorance of logic of feeling for another person, not being able to
It's that lack of empathy there.
right, exactly. You're
Yeah.
not able to put yourself, or they're so other that like you forget this, that like, no, they're a person too, and they have the same feelings that you would have if like a black man came up and grabbed your hair without somebody like, oh, I really like your hair. You'd be really fucking freaked out.
Right. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, not being
Yeah. Whether it's racially motivated or not, you probably
right.
shouldn't just
It's
maybe just get consent before you do anything.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm a really touchy feely guy. I really like rubbing, like putting my hand on my friend's shoulders. I like giving hugs, and like, or like sometimes I like to stroke my friend's hair and stuff like that. But like, this is all in a pretense that you're comfortable with this. I have plenty of friends
Right.
that
That
are
it's
like,
okay. It's
right,
accepted.
it's accepted, like where there's a mutual agreement there. Oh shit, I'm like fucking blowing up here. Oh shit, guess who just texted me?
Is it the one and only?
Cameron motherfucking Damaski. Just got some B-roll content of me and the kids playing spike ball, so I don't even need to edit that right now. So
So is he gonna join us? Is that
that
what's happening?
mean you wanna get down on a podcast threesome? But no, actually, just to kind of like throw it out there. So just to kind of throw it out there, I think what we're going to do here in a moment, I believe that Sam's timer is running out of time. So what we might do is just pack it in. I might do a little change of venue, go over to Cameron's and reset up after that. But before I do, I just kind of like this epic story that is Sam and I's friendship. Like we bonded over this mutual experience, and what really made an impact on me, I was like, I really want to get to know them better, like as a person, and spend more time with them. And I'm 35. I'm all friended up. Like if you're
yeah.
if you're a piece of shit and you got nothing to bring to the table, then like, I mean, yes, I'm a people person. I'm a nice guy. I'm not gonna be a dick about it, but I'm certainly not going to make an effort to like.
Yeah, it takes a lot to be able to be like, okay, I need to be able to have this person in my life.
Right.
Because like, even when it comes to people like you and Aiden and Cam and all these people, like, I still struggle to see them on a regular basis.
Right.
And so if you don't like overshine my expectations, good luck, man, because I'm not going to respond to your texts.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, no, exactly. And it's one of those things where like there was that impetus that kind of like drove it along, and then like Saturday night we're like, oh, podcast, blah 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 blah, and we're like, you know what, we really just need to fucking like just go for it.
Yeah, let's just do it. Yeah, and like
see
what happens, see what works. Obviously, we're gonna be able to like finesse this as it goes, and like it's gonna only get better from here.
I mean, I feel like this has been pretty cool. I think that.
Oh yeah.
I feel like, and I'm saying pretty cool. I'm not like, oh right, bro.
Boom, solid take, man. We don't have to edit this at all. Let's just do it same time tomorrow, right?
So dope. And honestly, let's hold off on even waiting for Damaski, because like he always texts through and then like not respond. But the point is we were both on the same page of what we wanted to do. I mean, we want it to be light, we want it to be funny, but like we also, we'd like to be fruitful. And as we kind of work out the logistics and the technology, we want people to kind of participate in the conversation. So I think we're gonna take a little breather here for a minute. We're probably gonna come back to this here in a little bit, but just kind of putting that seed in whoever's listening to this, like, find us on Facebook. Find us wherever you get your podcasts. Like, I'm not going to tell you to subscribe. I mean, if you listen, you listen. Like, and if you subscribe,
right, and it's like it's not like it costs money or anything. So like if you can find like an hour out of your day to be able to just like, you know what, I'm gonna listen to some nonsense and have people introduce themselves to me. Yeah, like we greatly appreciate it, and like we said, I promise it's gonna get better.
and where we want to go with it is like, yeah, like subscribe, listen, like have fun with us, but also like as we like the whole idea behind us like putting this up in the first place is to have conversations. We're going to pick something different each week. It might be something really like floofy and like kind of like, very nonchalant one week, and it may be a heavier topic the next. But what we really the direction that we really want to end up going with you guys as a listener is we want you to be a part of the conversation. And as you've heard from Sam and our like stories, like we're pretty hard to offend. We do defend our points to the death if we feel that like we can back it up with fact and truth and
yeah,
right. And even then, even if like we don't agree with opinions, if we're at least having a fruitful conversation where we can agree to disagree, but at least we heard each other, I think we've done our jobs.
Exactly. I mean, I'm fairly sure we're probably the two most tolerant people that I know.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah, I mean, we put up with so much shit.
Right.
Yeah, I think we just have that understanding that it's like we are all human beings.
Sure.
Everyone deserves to be at least at the very least, bar minimum, listened to.
Yeah.
And like if you got an opinion, it's valid. I mean, that's the whole entire thing. Like you got a right to your opinion, and you got a right to your wrong opinion.
Right.
Have that opinion. It is yours. Own it.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's.
But also, if you're spouting some racist, homophobic shit, you also have the right.
Expect the consequences.
Expect opposition. Exactly. And that's fine. I mean, like honestly, yes, I am just that laid back. If like, if like a neo-Nazi came out of the woodwork and just like I'm articulating this in such a way that I want to have a conversation about it, but I think that Jews and people of color shouldn't be in my country. Let's talk about this. Cool. All right. Not cool. You know what I mean? But like,
yeah.
We'll
explicitly not cool. But let's talk about how that's not cool.
Like in my opinion, or rather, like the overriding public opinion, not cool. But at the very least, if we're opening up a dialogue, if you're talking to somebody, if you're having a conversation with somebody, that gives you my roommate. That gives you the opportunity to, like, when you open up a dialogue, it gives you an opportunity to learn something. You may not
and be heard.
Heard. Yeah.
With the and I think as long as it is a legitimate discourse of everyone is being heard and everyone is taking the other point in consideration. It's really easy to take someone's opinion into account when they are, racist and all these things, especially because they're like so like. What is it? What would you call it? Like flat-minded of just like just kind of like it's like very
definitely staunch,
one-layered.
I guess, staunch. I would say like very staunch in their beliefs, but at the same time, you have to look at the flip side of the coin. It's very easy to take a position against somebody that you wholeheartedly agree with, but it's just as easy to side with somebody whose position is just like yours. But like, and which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, birds of a feather flock together. But at the same time, if you're digesting nothing but opinions from like-minded people, then you're not learning anything and you're not growing.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that's actually a great place to stop. Everyone fucking keep learning, keep growing. Talk to your neighborhood racist. He doesn't have anything good to say, but it'll definitely keep you out of your folks' house for a little bit.
And who knows, maybe one day deep down, though he would never admit it to you because you're a filthy Jew or a black person, but deep down, maybe, just maybe, he appreciates it. Or she. I mean, equal opportunity racism.
Equal opportunity for
it's
racism.
2019.
Okay.
Hashtag
I think we're bordering on sympathizing with racist a little bit too much. No, we're not. No.
It's just about, like, honestly, you don't have to agree with like somebody, and honestly is everybody's gonna have an opinion, and it sucks, but like as long as they're not actively trying to like hurt you of body or take away your rights, like then I mean, that's like the true essence of freedom. You should be able to do whatever.
I do want to say though that like while we say this, like we are also like I said before, like probably the most tolerant people that we know. It is really important, and especially like I had a long time that it took me to come to terms with this too, is that like you need to take care of yourself. You need to know your own limits, what you can handle, and all of these things. And so if you can't handle talking to someone that's like extremely racist, like I had to talk to a lot of racist people in my last canvassing job that I did, and so it like became sort of like numb to me. But if you're not like that, like do avoid those situations if it's going to just cause you like stress and anxiety and pain and discomfort. Like don't put yourself into those situations. It gets to a point where listen to a podcast where people are, where it's discussed and you're not being forced on all this information. Sure. Or just as long as you're able to, I think, acknowledge that the other side of the coin exists. Mm-hmm. You don't even have to read the inscription on it.
It's true. Just know that it's there. Know that it exists. Like I said, you're like, I'm worried that we're sympathizing. No, man, it's not about sympathizing. Nobody's
acknowledge that these people exist. They're out there. We're all human beings. Yeah. We all just need someone to listen to us. We all need to learn and grow and. Maybe I'm coming to terms with the fact that I need to go back to therapy again. Right. Next week. I'll be back, Lori. Next week. Hopefully you're listening. I'll be back next Thursday. Don't worry.
Yeah, next week Sam meets Dr. Phil. And how is that working out for you? No, and also at the end of the day, like circling back to the whole concept of self and everything like that, just because I am aware of myself and I know myself, it doesn't mean that I am not occasionally a dumbass.
Oh yeah. I am daily guilty of being a complete dumbass. That's something that I'm actually getting a little bit better at, is actually being able to acknowledge, when I am challenged and things like that, instead of going super defensive, like being able to take like, even if it's a small step back and being like, wait a minute, like, maybe I am in the wrong here. Maybe, I do need to look at this from a little bit more perspective. Because you get into the position where you're like, oh no, I've dealt with this over and over again, and so I know. And so you don't even question the situation that's happening. But it's really important to constantly especially because we're constantly evolving.
Sure.
That's why the Constitution has amendments.
Right.
It's because we are a constantly evolving country. We are a constantly evolving population and world, and we need to evolve with the times, and our minds, our perspectives, morals, they need to change with it.
Yeah, sure. All right. So
I'm done. I'm off my soapbox.
Yeah, right. And there lies in the wrapped up. So
my TED Talk.
Right. Welcome to Sam's TED Talk. No, okay. So just to kind of wrap it up, whoever ends up listening to us spiel on our garbage and our hippy dippy bullshit, thank you. We appreciate that. Again, find us wherever you can find us.
Yeah, find us wherever you find your podcasts.
Right.
If you don't like this episode, don't worry. Each episode's gonna be different. We're gonna be because not everyone's gonna like it. But just keep listening. Give us another chance. Please come back.
But no, but
but
when I say find us, don't just find us where you listen to your podcast. Literally
track us down in person.
Literally
Get to our neighborhood grocery store.
Yeah,
I go to Safeway on Wednesdays, guys.
Right. I may at any given time be at either the grocery outlet on Del Paso or the one off of Truxell. No, but really, we're serious about this. It's a conversation. Find us on Facebook. Find us on Twitter. Engage with us. Obviously, if you're going to do a Flame Wars, obvious troll, whatever, if you don't have anything of substance to say, I don't have anything to really shoot back at you, but cool story, bro. But seriously, have conversations with us. I feel like that's...
And this is an ever-growing podcast. So if you have ideas that you want us to be able to do, if you have little things that you want us to kind of throw in there or messages that you want us to spin off of, let us know and we'll totally incorporate some things. If it works, it works. And, we're obviously not done perfecting it. So, we love ideas. That is the point of what we're trying to do.
This is episode 1. And I tell you what, guys, obviously Sam has been amazing. Our other co-host Cameron, who I may or may not get to riff along with us this evening, we'll see. Kind of had to bow out. Sam stepped in, and it's just, this is fucking incredible. But I tell you what, stay tuned. I do have 3 super, super, super rough cut ones that Cameron and I recorded that are just kind of off the rails and retarded before we even found our format. So you can kind of see, you can have a laugh because obviously we're being functionally retarded. I'm sorry, we can't say that anymore. I'm sorry, that's terrible. But we're just being functionally...
You said it.
We're just being dumbasses.
Yeah.
I think...
Yeah.
Are they the kids aren't offended by dumbasses right now, right? The dumbasses were. Yeah, we're just being...
Dumbasses are fine.
And this was before Cameron and I came up with the concept of what Sam and I and I'm sure various other people are doing now. So I'll be sure to throw that up in there probably tonight along with our first episode, so you can kind of see the functional progression and just kind of see how amazing I feel like this is going to get over time.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited. All right, well, thank you guys so much for listening. This has been the WizK. I am Sam Rothenbaum,
and I am Quentin Larson.
All right, and we'll see you next time, guys.
Hopefully.
Please come back.
Yeah, please come back.
All right. Cool. So I have 3 recordings on Anchor.
Nice, awesome. So I have 1 hour and 12-minute recording.
Yep.
So. So do I here? Let me just get that started now, and then while we're doing that here, I'm gonna unplug you so that camera can hear the laptop, because I'm gonna call his ass.
Okay, cool. And then you can actually log on to Anchor and you can upload the audio straight to the website, and I can download it from there.
That's what I'm thinking. And then just make sure that don't be a hero. You and I will split up editing duties. I just need give me some crash courses in the new Audition and all that good stuff. So, which I'm kind of looking forward to. Sometimes getting into that nitty gritty tedium. But actually, what's funny is I wouldn't admit it on a recording, but we may actually not have to edit this one. It was just honestly,
yeah.
I'm super happy with it, and honestly, since we're free flowing and talking about ourselves, I don't feel like there was any off the rails or any dead air. I felt like we kept it on point.
Yeah. I think there was a couple spots that I acknowledged that I kind of might need to cut out small little dead air moments of just we were trying to gather our thoughts, but then we went straight into it and tackled it really well.
Right.
I think there might be maybe 10 seconds total that needs to be cut, and it's just excess silence.
A little bit. By the way, oh, that's right. It's unlimited space. Never mind.
Yep.
Because I was because this is it records in flat lossless wave. So
perfect. right, I'll be right back. I need to fucking pee.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, I'm surprised I don't have to take a leak. Go for it.
Hey, bud, what's up?
What's up, girl?
What up, baby? How you doing?
Oh, dude, fantastic. Sam and I just wrapped up the first episode of WizK, and we recorded each other's video through Skype. Like, I recorded on the line recorder. Like, we're gonna put it all together, dude. It was a really good first episode.
Very cool.
What you up to, baby?
I'm at Cooper's right now. If you want to come hang out,
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Like, I just
we're having food and beer with friends. So yeah, come by.
yeah, no, I mean, we don't have to work. I mean, we've been working all day. So I'll tell you what. That's Jamie calling. I'm gonna pick up the
All
phone
right.
here, and then I'll talk to you in a little bit.
All right, I'll be here.
All right, bye.
So what's going on?
Oh, I'm gonna go meet Cameron at Cupro's here in a minute. I'm not gonna drink. I'm gonna take my line recorder with me, and I'm gonna record him acting a fool. Hi, Jamie.
Hi.
How you doing? Say hi.
Hey,
Sam.
Jamie.
Yay!
How's it going?
It's going okay. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm in fucking Maui right now.
Where are you?
You're in Hawaii. Which island?
He's in Maui. Right?
Maui.
Oh, Maui. Excuse me.
Oh, you're good.
Well, I mean, it's part of Hawaii.
Yeah.
I forgot you were Skyping. I will let you go. So
No,
Oh
you
no,
can-
we're just wrapping up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
You're
just
good.
we'd wrapped up the recording and everything. That we're just wrapping everything up, and then I'm gonna fold this up and go make a fool out of Cameron for a little bit, and then come back home.
That sounds like a plan.
Right?
Yeah. I'll go ahead and let you guys talk. I'm gonna pack up and stuff. I'm gonna go meet Sasha. So bye.
So excited. Have fun.
I will. All right. Bye bye.
Get out of here.